Good morning, my beloved. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Pittsburgh. It's Sunday, May 7th of 2023. I am Reverend Dr. Kate R. Walker. I use the she, her pronouns, and I am truly honored and delighted to serve as the minister of this beloved community. And for those with visual disability, I am a 60-year-old white female with light brown hair and a pixie cut. I wear glasses. I'm wearing a black clergy robe with a stole that I particularly chose today. This is a stole that has the painted handprints of the children of my prior church in Meadville, Pennsylvania. And I wanted their hands as a laying on of hands today for our topic about the body and beauty. And I'll talk more about the laying on of hands a little bit later. You are all welcome here. In so many ways, you are welcome here. For those of you who are on YouTube, you are welcome now or in the future when you are watching a recording of this service. It is interesting today because most of you are on YouTube because we are surrounded by the Pittsburgh Marathon, one of those cities that I live in. The Pittsburgh Marathon is going on right now, and all those beautiful bodies are running around doing extraordinary feats to max out their athletic ability. And so most are there, and the blessed few who walked or biked in, you are delighted to see you, absolutely delighted. We are a multi-faith community where we all are welcome. Diversity is celebrated. Questions are expected. We are growing, we are learning, and we are loved in body and spirit. If this is your first time with us, delighted to have you here with us. If you are online, we invite you to check out our website. If you haven't already, just First Unitarian Pittsburgh, it'll pop right up. And down at the bottom of our main page, you'll find a form to sign in and start getting our newsletter. But we'd love to hear from you, and send us an email of introduction, and we'll start getting you connected and us to you. And if you're here in person for the first time, we do have a welcome table right through the doors into the garden lobby, and we can get you signed up on our newsletter list that way as well. Ordinarily, we do have a social hour after services, but alas, not today, since most of the social hour people couldn't get to church today. But I do invite you, of course, to gather after services and chat with each other downstairs. Get some water and a cup. If you need something in your hand, that would be fine. And of course, you are all welcome. There is a Zoom social hour after service. You are welcome to get that link by sending an email to firstunitarianpittsburgh@gmail.com. First Unitarian Pittsburgh is one word, and then you'll get that link for that Zoom social hour. We are a really active community with a lot going on, that we're a bunch of awesome seekers and curiosity and looking for ways of connection with one another. And I will tell you right now, we're getting a lot of visitors, and the visitors and membership team, they need some help. So if you have been around long enough to start saying welcome to other people, they would love some volunteers at our welcome desk. Even just once or twice through the next few weeks would be a big help, just to say welcome to our visitors and our guests. And the other thing that we need help is our gardening team. We are about putting our hands and our fingers into the dirt and the loam and the depth of this planet and making it more beautiful around our building. So if you are interested in doing some gardening, please see me, and I will put you in touch with our gardeners. They're in need of some help. I invite you now to arrive in body and spirit and mind, to be present with one another wherever you are, as you be perhaps at home sipping your coffee or tea, and just be with one another. Imagine yourself connected for all who are worshiping. As we turn now to our chalice lighting, this symbol of Unitarian Universalism, and I offer these words from the Reverend Dr. Cynthia Landrum, a Unitarian Universalist minister. Today, as always, in our liberatory faith, we welcome you. We welcome you whoever you are, however you got here, whatever the state of your body and mind and soul. We come here today with our sorrows and our joys, with our aches and pains and our rushes of energy. We come here today tall and short, fat and thin, and all the betweens. Of all people of all races, genders, and sexualities, people of many cultures and histories, classes and abilities. We come here today in full embodiment, knowing we are holy, knowing we are beloved, knowing that here we can find community. Let us build together that diverse, multicultural, beloved community. And come, let us seek justice and liberation together. Come, let us worship together. I invite you to stand as you're able in body or spirit. As we sing 396, I Know This Rose Will Open.
Good morning. Doing this story for all ages from behind the pulpit, and I needed to get up a little bit higher so you can, doing some arm movements this morning. This is a Gandhi peace greeting that's being taught to, I think, kindergartners in our religious education. And so maybe you could follow along with me. I offer you peace. I offer you friendship. I offer you love. I see your beauty. I hear your needs. I feel your feelings. My wisdom comes from within and without. I honor that source within you. Let us work together. And you'll see in your order of service, we were singing our children out, but they're not here for our read this morning, so we're not going to do that. But I have the pleasure of welcoming Mike Zimmerman, and he's our Share the Plate. His organization, Tree Pittsburgh, is the recipient of the Share the Plate for the month of May. You don't need this box. You're welcome.
Good morning. My name is Mike Zimmerman. I use he, him pronouns. I'm the chair of the board of Tree Pittsburgh. And I just first want to say it's an honor to have the invitation to be with you here today. It's also, both on behalf of the organization, also personally. I was telling Reverend Kate before we begun, my wife Kelsey, who's right there, I'm outing you right away, came here as a child for many years, and so it's very exciting to have the privilege to come back and to meet all of you. So I get to tell you a little bit about Tree Pittsburgh. Tree Pittsburgh is a 501c3 based in Lawrenceville. We've been around since 2006. We have 20 employees. If that sounds like a lot to you, it does to me. We've doubled in size over the last 4 years, which is very exciting. Our vision is to create a healthier urban forest for all by inspiring and engaging people to maintain, plant, and protect trees. We believe that all people have the right to benefit from the many health, environmental, and social benefits that trees provide. A greener city will create more vital communities for generations to come. So, Tree Pittsburgh does a full range of tree planting, care, and advocacy work. We have a 5-acre headquarters campus down in Lawrenceville, right by the 62nd Street Bridge, where we have a 20,000 tree nursery. Almost all native species, and all grown from seed. We have a couple of employees who have maybe the best job in town. They get to walk through the woods collecting seeds, so we can make sure we have a healthy, biodiverse population in the nursery. We do a lot of tree plantings and distribution. Last year, we distributed 6,000 trees to Allegheny County residents. And we do a lot of plantings. That's the reason you're hearing from me today instead of someone from the staff. It's planting season, so everyone's doing 6-day weeks, so they get to take Sundays off. Now, I probably don't need to tell you about the many benefits that trees provide. I see that I'm standing in front of a tree right now, right? But I will anyway. Trees provide a myriad of benefits. They clean the air, they absorb pollutants, they stabilize soil, particularly important in landslide-prone Pittsburgh. They improve physical health outcomes. There's some really interesting research happening in Louisville, Kentucky right now about administering trees as a drug. I don't want to get ahead of the preliminary results, but they look pretty exciting. And Tree Pittsburgh also, and this is an increasing focus of ours, trees help create healthy, stable communities. Tree Pittsburgh increasingly is using a data-driven approach to deliver trees where they can do the most good, where they can be the most effective. We like to plant a lot of trees, but we also like to plant trees where they're most needed. And that includes in Allegheny County and the city of Pittsburgh, where we have some very low canopy communities. Unsurprisingly, those communities tend to be lower income communities of color. Lowest canopy neighborhood in the city of Pittsburgh is Manchester Chateau, with only 4% tree canopy. And lower canopy neighborhoods, again, unsurprisingly, tend to be hotter, right? A tree canopy can lower temperatures by 10 degrees, which in the summertime, the difference between 85 and 95 is a big one, right? Trees also make places feel and be safer. So we have 2 or 3 dedicated employees to do community urban forestry, to work with local organizations and communities to help them get trees where they can be most effective and maintain those trees. Right. We're seeing some results. I am excited to say the bad news, over the last 5 years, Allegheny County lost about 600,000 trees. A lot of that was due to development. During COVID, everyone went home and they all built decks. But it's also due to factors due to climate change. Increased rainfall has caused infestations of pests we haven't seen before. Spotted lanternfly is among those, although that wasn't exclusively due to climate change. But we're seeing some good news in the city. For the first time, since we started doing tree canopy surveys, the city had a net gain of canopy over the last 5 years. And that's due to trees that Tree Pittsburgh and other organizations were planting 15 years ago. The best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The second best time is right now, right? And the best time to maintain a tree is all the time. So I would like to leave you with a few calls to action, I guess, opportunities to get involved. If you're passionate about trees or interested in trees. At Tree Pittsburgh, we have many ways for folks to volunteer. I mentioned the tree nursery. People can volunteer every Wednesday there. We're doing a lot of mulching and watering right now. Also many Saturdays. You can find the information on our website. people can take our tree tender class. Actually, the May one is sold out, so you'll have to wait till August 26th if you want to take that class. But it's a full range of how to take care of your street trees. You can also, oops, and I just lost my notes because I hit the wrong button. You can also come down and visit our headquarters on May 17th. We're having a fundraiser called Wine on the Water, which is wine paired with a meal and live music. And of course, we welcome your financial support and are very, very grateful to be joining you and being your beneficiary for Pass the Plate today. So we have a pretty small group. I want to, if you want to hang out and meet me afterward and ask questions, I would love to talk to you about Tree Pittsburgh further, or if you prefer to email, you can reach us on the website, treepittsburgh.org. Thanks again for having us.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. So the Share the Plate, most of you know, is that the donations are shared 50-50 with this organization, and this will be occurring through the whole month of May. Our religious community is made up of volunteers and staff creating and hosting a variety of programming. We rely on your financial support. In addition to the collection plate, you can donate by texting GIVE to 412-435-1050 and following the direction. Please check your order of service for more instructions. The offertory will now be taken.
Thank you. Thank you. How are your bodies doing today? Your bodies? Are you in your bodies? Did you bring them with you? That's good. That's good. I know that you carry in your bodies and your hearts many joys and sorrows, and this is a good place to bring them, to share with one another. We need to remind each other of our celebrations. That helps us build strength and endurance when those deep sorrows and pains. I do have a request for some healing thoughts and prayers from Nancy Latimer. This is going to strike you as wonderful, and she needs her help. Nancy's mother, who is 96, is having knee replacement. Bless her heart. This is on Tuesday, May 9th. So healing energy. Nancy's mom is active and independent and looking forward to being free of pain. So, for all of you who carry unspoken joys and sorrows and regrets and disappointments, please remember that none of us journey alone. Please join me in a few moments of personal prayer, of silence and meditation. Spirit of life, we can feel you all around us, pulsing in our bodies, heartbeat, rhythm, blood, fueling us, our muscles, from the DNA to our blood count, our brain constantly working and doing its brand fantastic thing. Spirit of life, let us celebrate your presence. Spirit of love, help us expand our compassion, our vision, our hearing, as we hear the stories of those we love, and also as we hear the story of the stranger on the street, the stranger in need, the women and children and men across this world, all of our trans siblings who are under attack again. Let our hearts expand for all in the marginalized communities, our BIPOC siblings, always wondering why their bodies are less than the other. Spirit of life and love, hold us in your embrace. Invite us to journey with love, with intention, with joy and justice. May it be so. Blessed be. And amen. I invite you to stay seated in Teal Hymnal 1053, How Could Anyone?
How could anyone
The reading for this morning is Walking in Beauty, the closing prayer from the Navajo Blessing Way ceremony. In beauty I walk, with beauty before me I walk, with beauty behind me I walk, with beauty above me I walk. With beauty around me, I walk. It has become beauty again. Today I will walk out. Today everything negative will leave me. I will be as I was before. I will have a cool breeze over my body. I will have a light body. I will be happy forever. Nothing will hinder me. I will walk with beauty before me. I will walk with beauty behind me. I will walk with beauty below me. I will walk with beauty above me. I will walk with beauty around me. My words will be beautiful. In beauty all day long may I walk. Through the returning seasons may I walk. On the trail marked with pollen may I walk. With dew about my feet may I walk. With beauty before me may I walk. With beauty behind me may I walk. With beauty below me may I walk. With beauty above me may I walk. With beauty all around me may I walk. In old age, wandering on a trail of beauty, lively may I walk. In old age, wandering on a trail of beauty, living again may I walk. My words will be beautiful.
Now I walk in beauty. Beauty is before me. Beauty is behind me, above and below me. Now I walk in beauty. Beauty is before me. Beauty is behind me, above and below me. Now I walk in beauty. Beauty is before me. Beauty is behind me. Above and before me. Now I walk in beauty. Beauty is before me. Beauty is behind me. Above and before me. Beauty is behind me, above and below me.
For those of you who have had the privilege of flying somewhere, and it's flying in particular for travel, but have you ever had that experience when you land at your destination, but you know you're not fully there yet? Like your mind or your brain, the rest of you is like lost luggage, and it doesn't arrive for a few hours or even a day. It's particularly difficult if you're, longer trips across the continent or international. And I know that happens to me frequently. I'm just disconnected from my body on long trips, on flights in particular. I think, and it's disorienting without a doubt. And here's the thing, I think a lot of us, particularly here in Western world, operate on a daily existence of being disconnected from our bodies. It's our brains are like hovering on the side here like some sort of Halloween ghoul. We don't pay much attention to our body unless it's giving us obvious signs like hunger, sleep, thirst, pain. For the most part, our brain and our head just bring our body along for the trip. Wow. There are so many more layers of consciousness going on, messaging in our bodies that we so fairly, rarely acknowledge. And I'm going to be honest with you right now, I'm taking my shoes off because I want to feel more grounded as I talk about my body and your body, the human body. There are a lot of reasons, I think, why we tend to operate as if our bodies and our heads and our minds and our hearts are kind of disconnected. And I think it's important to understand why, because it has serious implications and impact on a lot of important things in our daily living. We need to revolutionize how we interact with our bodies, frankly, to live more holistic, more healed, and fully human lives. The mind-body split, that dualism, has been carved out for centuries. It goes back millennia. From the Plato to Descartes, we have felt that the body was somehow insufficient or unsuitable, even impure enough to carry the spirit. That the body was not pure enough and needed to be fixed. And in fact, it was portrayed for millennium as the body and the mind were actually in rebellion and fighting against each other, and we needed the spirit to win over. This kind of a view of the body seriously has infiltrated religion. It has infiltrated health care and education and all sorts of, and politics. But today I'm going to focus on just two areas, religion and a little bit of health care. Within Christian theology, there are layers of the sinfulness of the body, which has, of course, life-threatening implications for women and children in the marginalized community. The idea that the body is sinful and needs to be cleansed by ritual, by deed, and by strong belief. I call it bad body theology. You can find it most obviously in what we call the Protestant Calvinist theology, that not all are worthy of being saved. That not all are worthy of being saved. That is the Calvinist Protestant theology, and that was partly in why Universalist theology was rejected throughout the Middle Ages. The idea that all would be saved, no, because the body could not be saved. Only a few select were saved, and nobody knew who. So that produced kind of a need to prove worth, to demonstrate that one was worthy of being saved. And we engaged in all sorts of hierarchical gaming with one another, of shaming one another to show that I am more powerful and worthy than you. This brings in enslavement, shaming practices, child marriages, rape, murder. See, the implications of such a deep and serious theological construct results in truly horrific implications for all of us. When you take it to another layer as well, this bad body theology, and it partners with capitalization, then you use the body as both a target of production as well as a production tool for labor. This becomes a usury lens of the body as a target of product and production, and it dehumanizes everyone. dehumanizes us. It diminishes us and breaks us down into bits and pieces of nothing more than bones and muscle. We can also bear witness to the body's sinfulness when combined with capitalization in the horrific billion-dollar advertising industry. Every time we open a magazine, turn on the television, go to the internet now, advertising even in the grocery stores, what do we see? Ways to improve our bodies, to make them more better, more perfect. It's a constant cycle of abuse and disconnect and constant hatred of our bodies as we try to clean, shave, cover, color, paint, puncture, bejewel, and cut our bodies in order to make them more beautiful, because they're not acceptable the way they are. We reject, we maim, we dismiss, we ignore, we abuse, and we dispose of what is not worthy unto itself. And then we are left with such acts as fat phobia, bias, shaming, and discrimination. And it bears out in fears and oppression of trans bodies, a long history of oppression and hatred and ownership of the black body. And we can feel anxiety around sex. Thank goodness for our sex education program our whole lives. Eating disorders, constant hierarchical evaluating of bodies over other bodies. This mind-body disconnect results not just in separation from our own body, but separation from each other. From each other. When you package this self-alienation with individualism as a high value in our country, it creates a deep and profound isolation and loneliness. All of this creates trauma on our bodies. Deep and profound trauma that we're now realizing carries on from one generation to another. And so much needless suffering. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Rachel Naomi Remen. She's a wonderful physician and storyteller. And she talked about one of her cancer patients who came in one week having missed a previous appointment. And Rachel didn't know why her patient had missed the previous appointment, but she was concerned when she walked in. And the patient explained that she had been in the hospital. And she explained that she had been in the hospital because she had a bowel obstruction. And Nancy said, "My goodness, that's extraordinarily painful. What happened?" And the patient said, well, her cancer treatment had created some adhesions and created the bowel obstruction. And yes, the pain was tremendous. So I did what I thought was right. I packed a bag and my nightie and a book and got in my car and went to drive myself to the hospital, of course. And Rachel said, "But that is an extraordinarily painful thing. Again, what did you do?" And she said, "Well, when it was gotten real bad, I just pulled over and waited for the pain to pass." And Rachel said, "Why didn't you call a friend to drive you to the hospital?" She said, "Oh, they all work during the day. They're too busy. I got to the hospital and they treated me." And she said, "Well, why didn't you call me?" She says, "Oh, well, that's not your department. You're an oncologist." And Rachel said again, "Did you call anybody while you were there?" And she said, "No." What were they going to do? Kiss my boo-boo? And Rachel said, even a child, when they fall down, rushes for comfort from their parent. Kissing a boo-boo actually can help heal both the heart and the body. And it can help you feel connected. Rachel was just blown away by how this poor woman had completely isolated herself with these messages of not being a bother to other people. So many of us are stalwart, fiercely independent, heartbreakingly so, even in a profound time of need. And that actually can compound our physical problems. When we need to really start addressing the deep traumas in our bodies, we need to recognize how much it's a part of a larger cycle of trauma. It's not just individual, it's part of something of emotional and spiritual bodies carrying wounds over time again and again. White supremacy culture and enslavement have been raised up recently by such authors as Resmaa Menakem, who wrote My Grandmother's Hands, and I highly recommend this book, My Grandmother's Hands, Resmaa Menakem. And he's a social worker that talks about the need to help heal the Black body as well as white bodies that have been for centuries been oppressed and traumatized again and again and again. And you begin to learn about the body's capacity for healing when we start to learn to break down those psychological and spiritual barriers that we have created because of our individualism, because of our capitalism, because of those ancient myths that were sinful. When we start to break them down. Bessel van der Kolk, he's a Dutch psychiatrist. I really like his work. In this beautiful, simple statement, he says, once you start approaching your body with curiosity rather than fear, everything shifts. Once we start approaching our body with curiosity rather than fear, everything shifts. Check in with your body right now. Check in with your body. Be curious about it. Rachel Naomi Remen tells another story about how physicians have, through training, years and years of training, and often lose their true best capacity for healing. They learn about all the tools and the science, but they forget. In fact, they're told to ignore the most powerful form that they have as a physician for healing, and that is the integrity as a healer for touch. For touch. So she organized a beautiful healing conference for physicians to come and learn again about touch. It only took about 15 minutes of talking with the physicians before they all went, yep, we got it. We need to relearn how to truly heal each other and our patients. And they were paired up with one another and with just, one-on-one. And she said one of the participants, her name was Jane, and she was paired up with a male oncologist. And now Jane was a well-respected surgeon, strong, tall, often the one who critiqued other people's lack of logic or critiqued people's lack of reasoning as being inadequate. She was, frankly, intimidating to a lot of people. She held her ground. And so when the oncologist was paired up with Jane, he was a little nervous. He was a little nervous because of her intimidation. But the oncologist explained to her that he was a little nervous, and they were supposed to do a little brief check-in before the exercise was simply to lay a hand on the other in a place that was hurting. Just gently lay a hand on the other. The oncologist lay down on his back, and Jane didn't do anything. And the oncologist then said, just blurted out, he felt like she ought to know, I just recently went through a divorce. And he burst into tears, just saying those words. And Jane slowly placed her hand on his chest, gently. And he burst into tears again. And he felt like Jane was holding his heart in her hand. And he felt these layers of grief and suffering start to melt away. And he realized that her steadiness, he could feel her own pain though. And he realized he wasn't alone anymore and that he was safe. And when he opened his eyes, he saw that Jane too was crying. And Jane said through halting voice that she realized she had lost her softness. She had lost her gentleness, her warmth through all those years of training to be more masculine in the masculine surgeon world. She had lost the most important part of being a physician. Every physician in the room recognized her words and knew that they too had lost that intuitive part of their powerful call to healing. For us to transform our bodies into a holistic experience, to be able to release our pain and fully experience our joys, religion and health together can start to create a more holistic. We can change the cultural taboos and those ancient messages that the body is sinful. And instead say the body is holy, it is sacred, it is worthy. We can highlight the current rituals that we have, that we are already there but maybe not paying attention to, the laying on of hands by children on their minister, the laying on of hands for prayer upon one another, baptisms and child dedications, blessings at marriages and at death. The Catholic sacrament of communion and last rites can be places of true healing and transformation for believers. Dance, long considered one of the most ancient forms of liturgy, is a profound way to bring healing to the mind and the body. And it's not just a sense of gratitude to the gods, but gratitude to life. We need so many more rituals, so many more ways of helping us reconnect with our lost baggage. And words matter, my beloved. For those of you who still have children at home, grandchildren, or nibblings, nephews and nieces, or children yet to come, the words "you are beautiful" for all you do and say from you as an elder in your family are powerful words to a child. And not to let them believe that they're beautiful just on the skin. That can be a dangerous message, that they're only valued for their exterior beauty. The words "you are beautiful" and all you say and do simply because you were born. What a life-sustaining gift. So as this theme of the month of beauty, today I invite you to begin to really apply it to your bodies, to each other's bodies, to do spiritual practice, mental health practice, physical health practice, self-care. And here's my challenge for you, my beloved. Some point this week, go stand in front of the mirror, look at your body, and say, "I am beautiful." Can you do that? It may not be easy. You may feel foolish. You may not believe it. Keep doing it. I am beautiful. Can you say that now? Just practice it. Well, that was not convinced. No. I am beautiful. 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 Sing it if that helps. But believe it. Believe it. And as we celebrate these incredible athletic people running around our city right now. What a great joy. What a great joy to celebrate with them and their achievements. Our beautiful bodies, the whole package, can help save lives. Yours and mine and ours. We can be a source of salvation in this life simply by reminding again and again and practicing all lives are sacred and worthy. May it be so. I invite you to stand as you are able in body and spirit. 326 in the gray hymnal, let all the beauty we have known.
Let all the beauty we have known illuminate our hearts and minds. Rejoice in wonders daily shown, in faith and joy and love that binds. We celebrate with singing heart, in loveliness of sky and earth, and inspiration of the arts, a miracle of every birth. Life's music and its poetry surround and bless us through our days. For these we sing in harmony, together giving thanks and praise.
I invite you to remain standing as you are able in body and spirit, and bring your voices together as we recite Extinguishing Our Chalice. The words are in your heart as well as our program. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go forth, my beloved, go forth into this world connected, mind, body, and spirit. Put your head on your shoulders, walk about, wiggle about, love yourselves, love yourselves. You are beautiful. Believe that. Return again with love and beauty in your step. Blessed be.